Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I am so excited to have on a 56 or 57-year-old from Birmingham, England. He bleeds orange and is the protector of the currently first place Sheffield Steelers with 9 wins and 3 losses. He returns to the shed as the Two Ales and Hockey Tales leading scorer with 1,091 points, plays, or listens, whatever you call it in the podcast world. He helped make the shed somewhat legitimate, and we even have multiple Steeler fans since our inaugural chat. He has walked across the UK multiple times to raise money for great causes and people. Welcome to episode 100, David Sims.
100.
Yeah.
When you started this, did you ever think you'd get to 100?
Not in 10 months.
No.
I actually remember when I thought of it, I made a list of guys I thought I could have on, and it was only about 50 guys long. It's really
The hockey world is a small world, though, isn't it? And you know somebody who knows somebody else who knows somebody else, and all of a sudden you're at 100, and you'll be at 200 before you know it.
Yeah, no, I this is my passion. This is what I love doing.
The depressing thing is you've had some brilliant guests on. I've listened to lots of the episodes. I've had NHL players, KHL players, DL players. Yet the person that leads the scoring by 20% is some fat 56-year-old Birmingham estate agent who frankly couldn't skate from here to the kitchen door. That's embarrassing to the rest of your guests. They need to up their game a little bit. They're boring. They got to bring something to the party.
Well, you know what? One thing you brought to the party was you promoted it. You got me out there. You got me on Twitter, and there were so many listens to your episode within that first week. And realistically, you got me out there in the UK to the other teams. You opened doors for where it's at now, and I actually get emotional just talking about it.
There you go. I have some uses.
You do. So thank you.
That's okay. I think people like to listen to stories, and you know what? We all listen to Spitting Chicklets, don't we? And we all then hear about the guys making $6 million a year who, and they're great stories, and they've great times, first class travel, all that stuff. But then I think a lot of the public don't realise just what the regular pros go through, and they're not making a lot of money; they're making a living. And wherever they're playing, okay, yeah, there are some guys in Germany making a lot of brass, but the majority of the guys, certainly the guys over here in England, they ain't getting rich playing here. They're playing it because they love the game. And then you can see that come out when they talk. And then the retired guys, they're not on the golf course every day. They're erecting scaffolding now. And they want to tell their stories again because it's been 3 years, 4 years. I'll revert back to the Jeff Legui episode that you did just after mine. And you know what? Nobody asks Leggy for his autograph anymore. And now all of a sudden this is, I can tell his story about what great days he had in Sheffield and then when you played against him in Cornwall, all that stuff. So I think there's definitely a market, which has proved it because you're getting great listeners.
Well, for me, it's not even about the market. It's about the guys. You can feel the emotion like come out of them when they talk about their former life, right?
Yeah.
You can feel it, the passion. And I think that's what you're alluding to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I mean,
just because we didn't make millions doesn't mean we didn't love it, right?
Hey, exactly. We had a player a couple of years ago, Aaron Johnson, played in Columbus, played in the show, went to the DL, played there and whatever.
He was in the Syracuse Crunch organization around the same time as me.
Yeah, one of life's all-time good people. And he did his MBA. We talked about the MBA before, and he did his MBA in Sheffield. And he's now working for the Blue Jackets, and he's in like their commercial area and their hospitality area. And you think, oh my God, he's lucky. He's got a job, a proper job, but in the sport where so many guys, there are only so many jobs and there's 100 times more players than that. So it's so awkward for them.
Well, and that's where I feel like I found my honey hole. This is where I fit, you know. Yeah. This and who's been my best, U11, huh?
Who's been your best out of the 99 previous interviews? Obviously, without my exception.
To be honest, my favorite, the one I laughed maybe the most to was the last one, the one with my old man. Just because, you know, when you're a pro hockey player, I didn't always act like Wally. I always tried to toe the line. I always tried to, fit in. And if, foam rolling and all that was what we were doing, I tried to do it. When I went to Denmark, I was in the weight room with them trying to do it. And that just wasn't me. I'd rather go for lunch, and I don't know. It's just, I guess when I'm Wally, I played better. When I acted like myself in Cardiff, I started to play better. And I don't know, people need to act like themselves, right?
You know what? We had a goalie years ago, 2001 Grand Slam team, a guy called Mike Torchia. And Torch was a big man. And when Torch came in, we tried to, Torch, let's get you on the weights. Let's try and get you. And he looked at me once and he says, Dallas were paying me $800,000 a year. He says, I wanted to eat pizza and I played much better. So I'm making $450 a week here. Just leave me alone. Let me be myself and you'll get a better me. And I think that's so true of many players. Sometimes we try and pigeonhole them now in the new modern way and vitamins and water and health foods and this, that, and the other. And some guys, they just want to go out and give it and play.
And that's people's personalities. I think when I was happier, and that's when I'm having fun all the time, like in life, is when I played better, right? When you're acting like yourself, and whatever you do for fun, do that and you'll play better, right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
But the other thing I was gonna say is like the hockey world, how it's came together with this podcast. Like I heard Sheffield Steeler fans threw Twix on your ice.
Well, if they did, they wouldn't have had them back. We'd have certainly ate them and kept them. But that's he chickened out of a scrap with that goalie,
Hold on. Okay, I was going to bring this up today, and I thought we were really
good. He was challenged. He turned the other cheek.
Are you serious? Because so I got new friends now, right? Since episode 52, right? I've made new friends. I'm in group chats. One's called Legs and Eggs, and but anyways, I was texting with Mac, and he said, I believe he had got a shutout, and he says, I think I'm gonna have to beat up Barry next game.
I don't think you'll get close to Barry.
And I said, oh, why? What's up? And he said he was staring down the bench and chirping them, and I don't know.
Well, he skated over the blue line, and he kind of offered your boy out, and then he challenged the Cardiff bench. No takers. Just saying.
Jeez, this is two different stories. I thought Mac was calling out Barry on my podcast today.
Never. Have you ever met this Brust? He's a real character. He's a top bloke, absolute top bloke.
I don't know him. I'd love to meet him.
He's a different bird. He's like
goalies are, man.
Yeah, but he's different. And he laid out one of the Cardiff players behind the net. Puck goes into the corner. He meets him there. Bang.
So if this fight doesn't happen next time, I mean, what are we really doing? Is this entertainment or is it not? Right?
It's entertainment, and we play in Cardiff Saturday. Perhaps Matt just wants to fight in front of his home crowd.
I think realistically, if the hockey world's really come together, I think what would be great for everybody is if the next time Cardiff and Sheffield play, those two fellas start the match. Coaches, get off your high horse, put them in the nets. They should start anyways, right?
We're going to do this. Saturday.
We're going to do this, and then they can come on and pod about it after.
Well, the pair of them play Saturday down in Cardiff, sold out arena.
Hey, when's the next time?
Saturday. That's in 5 days' time, yeah.
Oh, shit. Well, here we go. This is awesome. Oh, my God. This is exciting. So, okay, I can't wait. Like, can you get a stream for that one?
Yeah, you can get the stream. You're kidding me? Todd will sell the stream any day of the week.
Well, guess what? I got my own championship to win. Silver Stick this weekend. Sorry, Pod's going dark this weekend. We got 2 games Friday, 1 game Saturday, and we're in the regional Silver Stick tournament, my U11. So I'm busy.
Well, I'm sure if anything happens on Saturday, there'll be plenty of people with phones and cameras. And
I'm sure they'll let me know. They've let me know about a few things going on over there.
Sending the footage out.
Well, I can't wait for that game now because Mac said he was going to beat him up next game, and now you're saying Barry already called him out and he didn't accept.
He went. He called him. He crossed the blue line. There's video evidence.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. I heard
doesn't not like 2 hockey players have got a different side of the same story, is it?
Well, that's true, but does Barry Brust not have a similar physique to me?
Well, Barry's a big boy. He's a
So we
big
just
boy.
got so Mac, we're gonna stretch him out, take him into deep waters, okay? Like I know what to do.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think Barry's used to it. I think Barry's used to it. So hey,
Okay. Well,
they're both great goalies. They've both got an edge, and
they need that to be great, right?
yeah, they have to be. Yeah, something's got to tickle their fancy, hasn't it? Something's got
Get the
to
juices
get the
flowing.
juices flowing. Yeah,
Like my
he's a real
shed when I get
competitor.
up at 5 a.m. to get my juices flowing.
Now Barry's a real competitor. He's been great for us. So yeah, if it happens, doesn't it?
Well, that's awesome. So now that we have this many listeners listening right now, folks, my last captain of playing for the Ripley Wolves around here, episode 34. If you want to listen to the episode, find out what type of guy I'm talking about. His wife was in a car accident. So I'm raffling off my last ever pro jersey with the Cardiff Devils. That was in my closet. As well, we've been given a Steven Dixon game worn jersey to raffle off and a Graz 99ers full team signed jersey. They're all up for raffle on my website and all the money's going to them. So if you need to figure out what type of people they are, episode 34.
I've got a signed Steelers top up in my closet. If you
Really?
want that, it's yours. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to get too much out there and overwhelm everybody, but like.
Well, save it for the next time. Save it for the next time. But it's going nowhere. It's a fully signed Steelers top.
Well, that would be great. Why don't we save that for the next charity? And I'll do these 3 jerseys for now. And thank you very much for the offer. That's very kind of you. And I know there'll be something else pop up because in the hockey world, we're going to want to help next time too, right? Because look at you, you've walked across the UK a bunch of times, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing what people do. And people back you. If it's a good cause, like the first walk we did was for some young girl in Sheffield who was, terminally ill. The second walk was for the young lad Blake in Belfast, who every hockey fan in this country knows, to get him a new wheelchair. And then a very popular player over his wife got breast cancer, so we did another walk for breast cancer. So and people from every club, obviously your main club backs you the most, but we had donations from every single club in every single league. So it was good to have. And the hockey world's cool like that.
And then that's like it actually, that's what makes me emotional about this whole thing is that coming out here and drinking beers with my friends or shooting the shit with people is able now to help my friends the way it is. Last time I looked, there was over 200 tickets sold, and that's at www.aleshockeytales.com. And each ticket is £2 or whatever that is in Canadian or American. We're doing it all, folks. And whoever wins the 3 jerseys, they all finish the same day. That's on a Saturday, December 18th. We'll get those jerseys to you, and then I will donate all the money to the Mearses to help cover their expenses through this time. They got a 3-month-old, and
we'll get that tweeted out and Facebooked out and whatever. So
well, thank you. I knew you could support. That's awesome because I knew you've done that for so many other people.
Yeah, we'll do that. That'll be all good.
Okay. So anyways, then my vision moving forward is I'm going to have 3 of his buddies on next, is a few guys from around here that are also playing pro. One's in Denmark, one's in the Netherlands, and one's in Sunderjyske.
My best mate coaches in Denmark at the moment. You know Dents, is it?
Esberg, the Energy.
Oh, Esberg, right. My best mate coaches in Odense.
Is that Thompson?
Paul Thompson, yeah.
The Bulldogs.
The Bulldogs.
Yeah, I played against them. That's quite the little barn, eh?
Is it? I've never been. Hoping to go in the new year.
Yeah, that's all right. It's it's my cup of tea, really.
Hey, we went to Aalborg last week, and
I was going to ask you about that.
The rink itself is great, but the concourse level and the building itself looks like something from the Soviet Union in 1978. It's just grey, and you just expect East German paratroopers to be walking around it. It was a really ugly place, but then you go in through the double doors to the iced area. Wow, it's a great facility. But Jesus, get a tin of paint.
Very weird, eh? Like the way you walk out onto the ice, though, like right behind the back of the net, and you just come out to the whole thing, right?
But a good trip. But we just had too few bodies. We beat Aalborg and we beat Riga, but then Olymp had got a few too extra bodies for us. We lost 4 guys during the tournament. So we just
Yeah,
don't
and
carry enough. We just
that
don't
was
carry enough players.
well, that was one of my questions was it says you got 4 guys out. So and they're like scoring forwards, right?
Yeah.
So
Emily, Valorant,
I've been through
Dynamite.
one of
Yeah.
these before. Okay. I've been through in Germany. I actually didn't lead the league in scoring because our goalie failed a drug test. So what I know this DeLuca just failed one. Do you know any details or can you talk about it or just
I know the details, but I ain't going to talk about it. That's
yeah, that's
between him
fine.
and that's between him and UCAD. And hey,
So
he's
who
a friend.
tests that? Is that the UK or is that
Yeah,
the
no, it's
Continental
the
Cup?
sport. It's like it's the governing body of all sports, and UK anti-doping is part. You know, like Sport England, it's above the national governing body, and they check Premier League footballers and they check hockey players, ice hockey players, speedway riders, and they do those things. And
I
very
don't
unfortunate.
recall anyone getting tested when I was there.
Yeah, they would have been. They would have been tested at the playoff finals. They'd have been tested at the Challenge Cup finals, and periodically they're just randomly tested at a game. So it's been going on for a number of years. But
Yeah, I got tested in Germany.
yeah,
But maybe in the UK they just looked at my body and said, "Oh, that's got to be natural."
I'll tell you, that's not performing enhancing. Yeah,
Well, it's all natural, folks.
yeah.
No, so do you know like what the penalty is, or you don't know yet?
Well, Anthony's got until early December to write back to UCAD to put his circumstances and to give his side of the stories, and then they'll make their decision there. And he's a first-time offender. He hasn't. It's a non-performing enhancing substance, so fingers crossed that he won't be suspended for too long, because he's a top bloke. He really is. He's a great guy, super popular here, and he'd be super popular wherever he plays. But I think he's going to go back to the coast. Is it Three Rivers, the team there? I think he may well be going there. So I wish him well, because he's been nothing but a bundle of fun since he came to Sheffield, and he's our friend. So
and he looked like he fit Sheffield. Like when you see Twitter, you see the pictures fans put up and people put up. He seemed like a fan favorite, right?
Oh, DeLuca is he's been a favorite since he got here 3 and a bit years ago. Yeah,
seems to always have a smile on his face, and
always happy, and but Twitter's a cruel place if things go wrong for you on Twitter. It's funny, isn't it? You got Twitter, you got Facebook, Instagram. You can put the same post on all 3 forums. You get vile abuse, just vile abuse on Twitter by some absolute idiots. You get up and down on Facebook, and you get he's a lovely lad on Instagram. It's the same post.
Maybe that's why I just stick with Instagram for this. I don't really have the time for everything.
I tell you, there's lots of people in the sport over here coming off Twitter because there's just a bunch of absolute.
Well, that's what I noticed. I kept putting things on Twitter and it wasn't getting that much reaction. I was like, well, I'm not enjoying it as much as I was. And Instagram's more fun to me. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right. I mean, we've had people in our club in the last few days since the DeLuca thing just close their accounts down on Twitter.
So anyways, folks, if you want to know where everything about the pod is actually posted, that's Instagram. Nowhere else. You don't know what's going on unless you're on Instagram. And it's the stories. That's all, anywhere I put it. It's the only thing I got time for. Well, good luck to that guy, man. Whatever happened, it sucks. And hope he does well, because he seems like a good guy and a good teammate from what I've seen.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Okay. What's the Emma and Jack story?
What's the what story?
The Emma and Jack story. Something about Dowdy helped them.
We had this lad called Jack at the for a couple of weeks. He's been getting hold of Dowdy and me, and he wanted to propose to his girlfriend. So we made a cock and bull story up about her coming down to the bench to have a photograph with Dowdy. We did that after the game on Saturday against Nottingham, and then we bring the lad in for the photograph, and then Dowdy just steps aside, and he goes to his one knee and marries her. Proposes to her. So always a feel good story on a crap day.
Yeah, love stories. The pod loves love stories.
Yeah, well, it was a horrible day because all the Anthony stuff had just broke that day, and
at least there's something good.
And then it was a nice way to end the day. They were a good couple.
Okay, trick question, because
Go
this
on.
guy's one of my favorite potters, and I could see you guys really hitting it off, actually. Trick question. Is Evan Mosey a better forward or defenseman?
Defenseman.
Oh, the trick
Well, I'll tell
question
you
was
what.
because he's got to do both to be the most effective to your team.
Well, if you'd have asked me that before he got here, and you never know players until they come to your team, I'd have said forward. But actually, he had a bigger. Well, let me put it this way: I don't know if he's a better forward or defenseman. He's had a bigger impact on our team at the back end.
Right. And that's why, but that's why I said it was a trick question, because to actually utilize him effectively all over, from what I can tell and gather, is that he'll play either.
Yeah, and he's happy to play either. And no, he's been one of the major success stories of our season so far. He's been top dollar.
Yeah, no,
Seems
like a great dude.
Yeah, his dad must have more air miles than God, because his dad will turn up at a game. You go, Mr. Mosey, how are you? And he'll give you a bottle of Pink Whitley, which is always good. And then the next week, he's gone home and come back again. I mean, like, he just does the Atlantic.
I have actually been chatting with him, and he said he goes once a month.
Well, I think he might go a little bit more than that.
It's just wild for me how many people this has put me in touch with that I didn't know before. It's very strange.
And he's got a connection, like his connection with a guy called Mark Bernard, who's the general manager at Rockford, the Chicago farm team. Yeah. And his best mates, like Evan's dad, his best mates are Mark Bernard. And Mark Bernard was a goalie over here. I forget where he first came to, Bracknell it might have been. Then he went to Manchester when they had a team in the big arena. Then he ended up in Basingstoke. And he worked for a company in Basingstoke called Planet Ice. And they're known for being a little cheap. So Mark was the coach, the general manager, the rink manager, and ran the bar. And in between periods would do the Zamboni in his full pads. And now he then went over to the East Coast League and he was a ticket seller. And then he became assistant general manager, and now he's in Rockford and doing terrifically well. And he's what a great guest he'd be on your podcast. He's a brilliant bloke.
And that guy was, he knows Mosey? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. He knows Mose. He knows his dad really well. And I think when Evan left Nottingham, to go, he went and played in the American League for a year, didn't he, after that? And that was in Rockford with Mark Bernard's general manager.
Well, to be honest, the options are endless of who to bring on. Like, I did one with my college roommates the other week, and then I got people from college, right? And like, well, me and my roommates would do it. And it's like, well, hold on. But then I did one with my dad, and it's like, well, what if I had Evan and his old man on the pod, right?
That'll be a good one,
right? And it would be a good memory for them, right? And I owe Evan. He's made me legit, just like you.
Yeah, Graham's a good guy, and he's got stories as well. And that's what you need on here. You need people who can speak with stories. You don't need yes and no answer people, do you?
No, you don't. But you also don't want the ones that just keep going and going.
Sorry.
No, you're dude. You're why I brought you on for episode 100. You think you talk too much? But isn't that Matthias Sontu? Did he not used to play for the Devils, and he's doing well with you?
He's doing not well with us. He's doing great with us.
He's running amok, you'd say.
Running amok, and he can do it all. Really good guy.
By the way, since your last pod, one of my favorite sayings of this 100 episodes is "pissed as a fart." Pissed as a fart. I've been pissed as a fart quite a bit.
You've been listening to too many English. Well, yeah. Hey, Sointu, I don't remember Sointu in Cardiff because I think he was only there kind of like for the Champions League. So I didn't really remember him, but he's coming here now.
I just remember the name. What is he, a Finn?
Yeah.
Just gives her then, or what?
Yeah, but he's not flamboyant. He's not crash bang wallop. He's very cultured, I would say. And most of his goals are from 3 foot out. He's a great guy as well, and he's fitted in. It's like the United Nations since Aaron Fox has come to Sheffield. He doesn't care where the players are: Czech, Swedes, Finns, Latvians, Russians, Canadians, Americans, doesn't matter. And it is a little bit like the United Nations in our dressing room. And now Sointu is right in the middle of all things happening there.
Really? So I always curious about those dressing rooms, I guess. Like how the boys really come together. I guess it's probably better if there's a bunch of guys for one from each country, but when you get three from one country and then you get one from a different country, then it can get clicky on you.
Well, that used to be the rap on the French guys, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you don't want them to speak French in the room. Well, we got a couple of French. I mean,
Well, it's not that they'd speak French in the room. I don't give a shit what languages speak, but what, like, if we're going for lunch, let's all go together.
Yeah, but we had, I mean, Matthew Waugh, who plays in Glasgow now.
Best stand in front of the net guy ever.
Oh, I've never seen a player in all the years I've watched the sport take punishment like Matthew Waugh does. Never seen it. And he got to the point where he couldn't pick a pen up to sign an autograph in Sheffield. His hands would shake and they were wrecked. And he'd still go out every night. He's as old school as they come. And we called him the king in Sheffield. He was the king of Sheffield. But even like Randy Dagenham. Pardon?
Isn't he still playing?
Yeah, he's playing up in Glasgow.
Yeah, what's going on in Glasgow? Why they've only played 5 games?
They've only played 5 games because their rink was owned by a multi-billion-pound company that had a little bit of problems. And the team in Glasgow has had to take over the lease on the building. So, in fairness to the people who own Glasgow, it's been a job of work because really Glasgow shouldn't have played at all this year because they didn't have a facility. But they've gone in, they've taken the lease over, they've put a new ice plant in there, and we always knew they were going to start late. But just to keep the numbers even, they've gone and done that. So
now they got to make up all those games over this.
Yeah, they didn't play in the Challenge Cup, so they didn't play those games. So they're about 7. Then. They're about 6 or 7 games behind.
It's tough for their budget, though. I guess they're gonna have to bring guys in for less weeks then. I guess because right, just a shorter season, and they just don't. The guys won't make as much money.
No, they've got enough money. They'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, people like Matthew, you don't.
I worry about the players. I'm not here for you guys.
Don't worry. I know half a dozen of the players up in Glasgow, and they're not playing for buttons.
But one guy, speaking of having 4 injured forwards, is that Dowd. He's healthy again, and he's running amok.
He's a player that will run amok. He'll end up being, well, he's the best British player in the league.
Best British player in the league.
Oh, head and shoulders, yeah. He's the best British player in the league. He's the best British goal scorer of, I would suggest to you, all time. He's a natural goal scorer. He works his tail off, and he's only a slight chap, but he is the most popular player in Sheffield, and fans love him. Everybody loves him. Workaholic.
Well, I should have him on the pod then someday. Now, since for where I had to send my hats, I had about 25 hats made and they all got sold, but the 2 hubs they went to were Sheffield and Cardiff.
There you go. Know your market. That's what it's all about.
I guess so. And look who's first and second place.
Yeah, know your market. And but no, Dowdy came from Billingham, about 100 miles up north, and he's been in Sheffield for years. He had a year in the Allsvenskan, went and played in Troya.
I think that was before I played against him, right? I think he came back, and then he was the big signing. He came back, and he had been an import.
He played in Belfast when he came back.
I played against him. He was in Sheffield with you guys when I was there.
No, he's the king of Sheffield now. He runs Sheffield, if you like. He's a good-looking boy. He's got his number tattooed.
Oh, is he? Is he a man rocket?
He's all right. Yeah, he doesn't struggle in that department, and he's got.
But I heard everybody in hockey's married now.
Oh, they are.
Is he?
We had, married 2 kids. Yeah, he got the cutest son in the world. I always remember an import years and years and years ago. His name was Scott Allen, first-round pick of Edmonton, and one of my all-time favourite Steelers players, top banana. And he looked at me one day, and because when we used to sign imports, you put 3 imports in a house, they'd love it, no problem. They're young, 23, 24, 25-year-old Canadians. And it was a free-for-all. And then, of course, and Scotty Allen once said to me, he said, you know what? AIDS has killed hockey. We've all got to get married at 24 now. And it's true. Every player you talk to now has got a wife, a girlfriend. And I'll tell you what they've got now, dogs.
Well, we talked about this last episode. We did. I remember this conversation, but I see them because I didn't bring my dog over, but I see all the posts of the guys that are over there now that I have new friends that still play hockey because all my old guys have came on and we still have lots of more old fellas, but the young guys that I've met, they do all have dogs.
And maybe back 20 years ago, the guys would turn up for practice at 10 o'clock. They'd go home at 11:30. And the girlfriends and the wives, they'd all be, they'd spend all the day. But now the players spend so long at the rink. I think the girlfriends get bored. They need some company. And I think the players decided that maybe it's better to buy the girl a dog and get her a lover.
It's the cycle of the hockey world, though. I remember was when I was a rookie in Syracuse was when I got there. They'd say, well, the old guys with families and wives, they're here on the bike about, an hour early. They got the newspaper and they just kind of sit there, right? They're just out of the house. Yeah. And then you get the guys that are in their 20s that would stroll in like, they're pros, they're ready. And then you'd have the young guys that are the last minute guys to show up, right? The very last second you can be there, they're just walking in the door.
Yeah, yeah. But it's, we touched on this last time, the whole, it's changed. It's changed.
Yeah.
Wow, it's changed.
So but much. It hasn't changed as much as I had thought, to be honest. Now that I've been asking around, like I just talked to the NCAA leading goal scorer at my old school, Western Michigan, and it sounded very similar. It sounded like they were still enjoying college.
Good. Well, so they should.
They should.
They
What's
should.
The whole point of it?
This, why is it the bigger the player, the tougher the player, the smaller the dog?
I don't know about any of that.
I mean, like they're bringing chihuahuas over now. What the hell?
I think
little things.
Yeah, I think sometimes those are the wives picking those dogs.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
But then again, if you can't pick out your own dog, right?
Not a chance. Not a chance. Not a chance. But no, everybody is married these days, and hey, you just get into the business side of things. That means the accommodation bill for all the clubs. You asked Killer when he was like in Belfast. I bet when he first went to Belfast, they were all Bracknell, when Killer was in Bracknell. All single guys, Junkin, McCosh, Kelman, all those guys. And then now everybody comes with a wife and a child and a dog.
Well, it's really just, it's the whole thing's changed, right? But like, do you think it could almost like, do you think it really goes back to when phones can, they changed everything, I think, personally. Like hockey was different. And like when I had my college roommates on and we talk about how we were the last ones, like at Western Michigan University or university guys that are our age, we were the last ones that like, not everything we were doing was filmed or recorded or taken pictures of, right?
Thank God.
Right.
I mean, yes. I mean,
there'd be no reason for a podcast. You'd already have the video of it.
Yeah. I mean, 1991 when the Steelers started, 93-4, we went over to Tilburg in Holland. I can remember chaos there, riots in Finland. As all the 4 teams in the Continental Cup that year decided to brawl on the main parlour outside the nightclub. I mean, just the stories that you hear over the years. I mean, you've had some great stories on this podcast, but to be fair, every guy who's come on this podcast can't tell you his top 50 stories. It just can't happen.
Right. Well, but we all know where we're at. We're in the shed. PG-13, exactly. Folks.
But
it's like my old man said, we're not going there. Okay, but let's get into that though. I got this written down here is since you've been on episode 52, folks, when everybody told me I was going to run out of people, I was doing too many. Well, guess what? I can have people back and talk about new things. Watch this. So we talked about Leggy. All I got written down was Beauty. Then I got Mosey. I had him written down 3 times. And my question is, who plans your away team meals? And are we getting Evan cheeseburgers yet?
Well, the coach and the assistant coach, Carter, they plan the meals. And I don't think cheeseburger's been on the menu. Is he a cheeseburger guy?
That's what he said. Yeah, that's what he likes. Guy. He likes to microwave them.
Ooh, yeah. Microwave for cheeseburger?
For pregame meal.
You know, sometimes the Canadians are a funny race, aren't they?
Well, he's
But
American.
I don't get.
He's American.
Is it? Oh, of course, he's a Yankee Doodle dandy, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Our coach is American as well.
Your coach is American?
Yeah, there's a difference, isn't there, between the Americans and the Canadians? There's a difference.
There
Yeah,
is. Yep.
There's a big difference. Yeah.
But I think there's a difference for now, especially now that I talk in my shed. There's a difference from wherever you're from.
Yeah.
The people you are grown up around, the people that you're buddies with growing up, they make you who you are, right?
Yeah.
Your parents do, everything, where you played hockey, the whole thing.
Mhm.
It's very interesting what I've learned over the last 10 months.
Hey, I'll tell you somebody you could have on here, and you probably won't even know this guy's name, but he's notorious in Britain, and he hasn't played in Britain for 30 years. But when you finish this, Google the name Brent Sapergia, Sapergia. And he was an import I had in Solihull. He only played 25, 30 games. Great player. Led the IHL in scoring. Wild. The best storyteller I think I've ever heard ever, and a notorious career in everywhere he played, in Europe, in North America. And because people would be so curious, I reckon you'd get he'd be the first guy that would get you 2,000 listens.
Really?
Yeah. I got his number. I'll text you. He lives in Phoenix, Arizona, a place called Chandler.
Perfect. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I got quite a few booked for the next couple of weeks.
That's okay.
Might be into the new year, but you know what? I plan on living a lot longer now that I'm doing this. Because guess what? I'm down. Today I weighed myself for the first time in like a year or two, and geez, I'm down to 174 pounds. That's 3 pounds heavier now than when I was a Cardiff Devil, which that was my last year when I had lost 10 or 15 pounds. I'm lighter than when I was a hockey player now, folks. From talking to my friends in my shed and laughing.
So whatever it takes, whatever it takes.
Yeah, you got to drink beers and laugh sometimes.
Yeah, but good storytellers will always, and everybody always wants to know his story because he absconded out of this country in quite dramatic style.
So yeah, what kind of story? Like, I guess I got to ask him the real stories about him. Hey?
Oh, he'd tell you unbelievable stories. He's the best, and he can deliver.
And he's how old? He's what about?
Oh God, he's probably nearly 60 now. But when you speak to him, you'll think he's 30.
I understand. Okay. Other guys I had on, I got to ask you about.
One
is you were the one that gave me Jono's number. I had him on, your captain, the identity of your club by what I can tell, right? And so what he's got a big toe, eh?
Oh, he's got horrible toes.
Jeez. Is it both toes or just one?
Did he show you?
No, we talked about it. Cause yeah, it was Leggy that told me to ask him if he was going to be a hand or foot model after hockey.
No, they're not the best. Hey, you show me a hockey player. No hockey player's got great feet, but no, he's got terrible feet. Terrible feet. Yeah. But one of the best human beings in the world.
No, you're right. It's just a great guy. That's what's weird is I've got to know all these guys, right? And you spend an hour and a half at the back of the bus in my shed. Then I get to know you, right?
Have you done Mark Richardson yet?
Yeah, I just did.
Yeah, Richie's a good guy.
Oh, he's the best. He's absolutely the best. I just had him on.
Well, he's not the best because Jonathan Phillips is the best. You can't keep saying they're all the best. You got to rank him a little bit.
Okay, well, you said Dowdy was the best, and I think Richie's the best. Well, it depends what you want, right? You want a scorer. I want Richie. So you know what?
Okay. Well, I go. Well, at the moment, I go Jono, but Dowdy will come in, and Dowdy will give you a good
one. But yeah, Richie. I just had him on. I think he was 97. He was just 2 ago.
Yeah, he's a good man. No, he's a good man.
No,
hell of a player.
Awesome person. We called him the perfect human.
Did you have Ben O'Connor on?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you. So your fans boo him now, eh?
Well, some of them do, but hockey fans are strange people, and they're strange people in Sheffield. But there
are strange people everywhere. I'm strange. I get up at 5:30 to do this, right?
Benny's Benny's a good lad, but he's a complex character, and he's a good lad, and he was good for us. But it was time for the ship to part and to do different things.
How's he? I haven't looked. How's he doing in Cardiff? Is he doing
okay? Yeah, he's doing okay. Yeah,
probably running the power play.
I think he'll be wanting to, whether the coach is letting him or not. But yeah, he'll be wanting to.
Everybody wants to. I always wanted to. Joey Martin. I had to take the second unit, you know.
Yeah, that's the problem if you play with Joey. Well, Joey Martin could run a power play, couldn't he?
Well, and by the way, folks, that Graz 99ers jersey is fully signed and he is on there. So if you are a huge Joey Martin fan and you just want to put the jersey on and sleep in it, whatever you want to do with it, it'll be yours if you win it. So buy a ticket. Okay. I got a few more questions then. I did have Ben O'Connor on. That was one of them. And the question was getting booed, which, you know, people make their own decisions. The next guy, though, number 84, David Amonte. When you were like the manager or anything, he's the agent for basically everybody, it seems like.
He wasn't when I was managing.
So you haven't dealt with him much.
He's got a new best friend in Gary Sago. So his boss, Gary Sago, was the guy that when I was managing, Gary was the go-to guy.
Right.
And,
this is the new guy.
And he's Gary's getting a bit older now, and Amonte's coming in and taking, if you like, some of Gary's stable. But Gary, there's a bloke who could tell us a few good stories. But no, Gary Sago was brilliant with the Steelers.
Okay.
Brilliant with me. So Amonte, Ryan Finnerty loves Amonte. Well, they have a love-hate relationship. One year, all Manchester's players will come from Amonte, and then they'll have an argument, and the next year, none of them will come. And then
that's
they'll
funny.
Come back again.
Yeah, no, he seemed just like a normal guy that really works hard.
I actually met him for the first time about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I've spoken to him, and obviously I've heard the name a lot. And then he was there, and we chatted, and he seems to be a decent fella. Yeah, good guy.
Okay, well, next one is one of those guys that I did not know before I started a podcast, and once I had him on, I'm like, if this guy lived around me, we would be great friends, is Stefan Meyer.
Oh, the best.
What a guy.
And you know what the best thing with Steph was? I used to do the interviews. Stefan was a great interview because he'd churn it around, and then he'd give you a proper answer. He wouldn't just give you some 3-word answer. But no, top guy.
Oh, and I saw it like you.
NHL wife.
What?
Just saying.
Okay. Like in all departments then?
Very, very NHL, yeah. Like Aaron Johnson's NHL wife, yeah. We got an apartment for Aaron Johnson. It was the very best apartment we got in Sheffield. We were so proud of this apartment. And AJ came over first. He was going to spend a couple of weeks in Sheffield before the family got in. And he came to us and he says, hey, I can tell you put a lot of effort into this apartment, and I really like this apartment, and I think I could be really happy in this apartment, and it's great. We went, oh, brilliant. He says, but my wife is an NHL wife, so we're going to be moving. And they moved into a house, and he basically paid for it himself and did it all. But no, Steph Meyer was just a great guy. Ryan Finnerty was coaching in Glasgow, Braehead then, and I was on holiday. And he rang me and he says, we can't afford him, but why haven't you signed Stefan Meyer? He's been offered to you. And just on that call, we kind of took a flyer on him, and wow, he was great. Brilliant.
What a person though. Like, I didn't know him. I only played against him and battled against him. And like, when we were on the ice, but like, he was never a guy that, you know, like would flop, or he played the game honest and played it hard. And then when you meet him in a podcast and you get to know him, he's just a hard-working, honest guy, right?
Really popular, super popular. We won what did we win with him? We won the playoff finals. Jared Adams was the coach, and he played on that team with Drew Fatter and Dustin Cohn, Gord Baldwin. That's guys.
When like Chris Blake comes over from Cardiff.
Blighter played on that team. Yeah. He had problems in Cardiff that year.
Same with G, right? That guy moved over too.
Yeah, they all came across. But Blight played really well for us. That stretch. I'm trying to think who the coach was. Brent Pope, bloke in Cardiff called Brent Pope, weirdest guy you could ever wish to meet. And he screwed it up for most of the people in Cardiff that year. So they all kind of jumped ship and came our way. Yeah,
and that was right before I came. But yeah, anyways, last guy then that I've had on, and these have all happened, folks, since he came on at episode 52. So if you think I can't have someone on again, you're dead wrong. We could start reduce, reuse, and recycling, or we can have on all the new guys we've never had, right?
Right.
Next one, number 98, Colin Shields. He sounds like he dodged his way out of Sheffield once he came.
He had a big night at the casino and then left us the next day. True story.
What? He had a big night
True
at the casino.
story.
He left that part out.
Yeah, well, he would. We were super excited when Sheds came to join us.
Yeah,
And
you
I
would.
remember Ryan.
Good nickname, Sheds. Good nickname,
Good
Sheds.
nickname.
Yeah.
And when Sheds came to join us, we were all super excited. And to be honest, I don't think he kind of, sometimes the fit's not right and it misses. And he was doing okay, and if he was popular enough,
No, he
everybody liked him.
he just didn't feel at home because that sounded like.
But he had a very, very, very good night in Sheffield.
Is that right?
And literally disappeared 2 days later. Yeah.
What game was he playing?
I don't know.
Huh.
I think I've been to 2 casinos in my entire life. So
yeah, as soon as I lose a cent, I'm out of there.
Yeah.
I hate that shit. I worked too hard to make money, right?
Yeah. Well, he had a good night, so he decided to go home. See you later.
Interesting. Okay. I had a curious question just myself. Have you ever been part of Team GB?
Yeah. Yeah, when Paul Thompson was coach for about 4 or 5 years, I was part of that. Did a lot of the media stuff. Yeah.
When was that? How long ago was that?
Oh, probably 12 years to 7 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, we missed out on qualification for Pool A by about 7 minutes. We played Ukraine, and they tied the game. We needed to beat Ukraine, and yeah, that was. But no, good times, good people, good experiences.
It's pretty cool where they are now, eh?
It's incredible where they are now. I'm not somebody who's naturally drawn to the associations, Ice Hockey UK, English Ice. I'm not into the Blazer Brigade. I think they're a lot of the amateur side of the sport, and the Elite League never gets the credit it deserves for the effort and the work it's put in to producing the players that have gone to play in the national team. And yeah, I mean, what they've done in the last couple of years has been terrific. They're going to obviously be without Liam Kirk this year because he got injured. So
yeah, I did want to mention him. So
he's a good kid.
How old is he?
Probably about 20 now, isn't it? 20, 21.
And mine was a PCL injury, but man, when you see a kid hurt a knee and getting surgery at that age, it just is tough to see.
And he's lovely. He's
on the climb, right? Like when I hurt my knee, I was rocking and rolling. We had just won the second league in Germany. I'm the second leading scorer. And then I hurt my knee. I missed a whole season. And man, I'm not saying any of this is going to happen to him because I'm sure he's going to have a lot better people around him with the Arizona organization than maybe in Bietigheim, but just guessing. I think he'll come back a lot better, and he won't affect him like maybe it can affect people if you don't get.
He's a dogmatic character. He's never such a quiet lad. He'd be a terrible guest on here because he struggles to put more than half a dozen words together.
Okay, well, I still kind of want him though.
But no, wait till he's got some stories to tell. Wait till he makes Arizona's team.
You're right.
But he's a smashing kid. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say a bad word about him.
No, I haven't.
Never heard anybody say a bad word about him. He's a good lad.
Yeah.
Good parents, good background, good everything.
Okay. Next question is the Guildford Flames are the next team below Sheffield and Cardiff. They weren't in the league when I was there. I don't think I never played against them the second year when I got hurt. Like, where are they got a budget? Are they actually good?
Oh, they've got a big budget. Yeah, their owner's probably the wealthiest owner in the league.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they'll try and tell you they don't spend. They spend. They're a good club.
And you say you don't spend, but you spend.
We spend. Yeah, of course we spend.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Hey, let me tell you, everybody spends. They just don't want to tell you they spend.
Oh, I know.
And Paul Dixon's the coach there. He used to play in Durham. Then he had 1 year in Sheffield. Then he went to Guildford, and he's been in Guildford for probably 20 odd years now. Good lad. And they've got a good team. They've got a connection with a guy called Stan Marple, and Stan Marple is big in that NCAA. So he basically said, and then they go from Stan Marple to an agent called Ross Lambert, and then basically they just cream off the best guys, and they pick up. So these guys who've got no resume.
So I know what they're doing. They're bringing in NCAA guys that are and there's NCAA guys they're good and they get
Really?
missed. They get missed in what the North American shuffle. And if they're maybe a little small, maybe whatever. Yeah, I could see that.
Well, there's some proper players that have gone through there.
And they'll come for cheap though too.
Well, they not necessarily. They earn good money. Some of those lads as well. And Guildford's a really nice place to live. And I think the Flames organisation.
Where is that?
It's kind of London way by Gatwick. It's more Gatwick Airport than Heathrow.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's a lovely place, and the organisation there is a good organisation.
Who's running that?
Paul Dixon runs it. A guy called Kirk Humphries, really good guy. He runs that.
Where I don't never heard of them.
Yeah, they run it. Well, they were in the lower league before because
the
politics of 25 years ago when the eruption happened and everything split, Guildford stayed with the other group. And then the other group's league went off the edge of the cliff and Guildford came across. But Guildford are a proper club. Now, if you've got a friend and he wanted to go to Guildford, he's going to a really good team, well looked after, proper people, decent people. No complaints there.
Okay. And rink's good too? I don't know anything about it.
Rink's a bit shitty.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like.
Yeah, no, rink's a bit shitty, but it's better than the big blue tent, but it's not as good as Cardiff's new one.
But it's all perception, right? It's all what you think of your rink, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So then I asked about Glasgow. That was my other question. And then all right, here, you said Persia, Brent's a Persia, right?
Yeah, Brent's
what are some of your other favorite Steelers to date?
Jason Lafreniere. You know him?
No, I don't.
Yeah, he's an older guy, played like late 90s for us, real character. Old school as old school can get. We had a guy called Ken Priestley, won 2 Stanley Cups with Pittsburgh, scored 50 goals in Rochester in the American League. My favourite goalie is a guy called Jody Lehman.
Yeah,
no, he'd be a good podcast guy. Yeah.
No, I already that's already crossed my brain because of Greg Schmidt, episode 3. They were good friends and just random small hockey world thing is when I go to play Sheffield with Bietigheim, Greg Schmidt's on my team and they're good buddies, right? And that's how this podcast world works is like the good guys know the good guys and all the good guys know each other, right? And it just keeps like the spider web just keeps growing. Yeah,
Jody's top guy. He was the leader on our team. Really good. Really top. No, just a top individual.
So when those other guys you had mentioned, what type of players are they?
Well, Priestley was about as good a skater as you'll ever see in your life. 5'10", just gifted, smooth. Could play in any league in Europe today. He was phenomenal. Like you don't score 50 in Rochester, do you? If you can't play. Jody obviously was a very unconventional goaltender. Lafreniere was a very skilled centreman, brilliant at face-offs, controlled the game, played it at his pace. Looked a bit bone idle, but was a real competitive character. Yeah. Scotty Allison, that guy I talked to you about before, first round pick of Edmonton. Powerhouse winger, wasn't quite a super heavyweight in toughness, but would fight all the super heavyweights, fought every night for us, scored goals, made hits, made plays.
He was too good of a player to be fighting those guys, but he still would.
But exactly. Yeah.
Andrew Hotham.
Yeah, he's but Ali was a seriously tough guy. He's a real estate agent, as you North Americans call them now. Real estate.
Yeah.
Instead of just estate. It's like we've got pretend houses, but you've got real estate houses.
I don't make those decisions.
No. So those are guys. We had a guy called Mike Perron. He was a pretty good player. I'd have put Stephen Meyer and Jeff Legui. You've had two of those characters.
So it's.
Oh no, here's a guy for you, Pete Libertalia. He played in the show.
Pete what?
Pete Libertalia.
What's his nickname?
Boots. Boots. And I
was gonna say I wasn't coming up with anything on that.
yeah, Boots. But he was probably.
Was he a good skater?
Oh, not really.
That's why we called a guy Boots in college because he had terrible boots.
Hey, he was an up and down, tough as nails, great guy. But his mum worked for Boss, and he'd come in a new suit every night, and basically, if a boss suit had got a snag on it or the stitching wasn't quite right, his mum would get it in his size, ship it over. And he was a character. I don't know what he's doing. You know, when you think back to some of the players and you go, God, I wonder what he's doing now. I really should try and track him down on something, because
Well, and that's what I'm doing, right? But yeah, like it's funny that you say that about his suit, because I actually wore the same suit to every game in Cardiff that I was a part of for 2 years, and it was every single time.
Yeah, Boots was a good player. Dennis Vial, played in Ottawa.
So this is curious, because when I ask your favorite Steelers ever, you're not ranking them on hockey playing ability, are you?
I'm ranking them on being good people. The best player I think who's ever played in Sheffield is a guy called Rick Brabant. So if you're looking for the best player,
no, that's not. What I was looking for was exactly how you answered it, because those are the people I love to podcast with, because that's like when I meet Le Guy and when I meet Stefan Meyer, I'm like, these dudes are legit. If they would have been on my team, we would have had a time.
yeah. Steve Munn, defenseman, just a great defenseman and just a thoroughly decent chap. Randy Dagenet, people like that, good people. Yeah. In fact, hey, listen, 99% of hockey people in the hockey community are good people. 1% are a bit arseholey, but 99% are good people. And they're there for you. You can phone. I could phone those names I've just mentioned to you. I could just phone any one of them up and you chat for half an hour.
Well, and that's exactly. And if you write down notes, you can chat for a lot longer than that. And then if you start cracking beers, it can get really long.
I actually said that to Jeff Le Guy when Jeff Le Guy did his podcast with you. I went, Leggy, how many beers did he have on you? I said, because I counted 6 or 7 when he was with me for an hour and a half.
That was still early on. I've grown up since then. I've got more used to this. I've got a lot off my chest. I feel better. I actually do. Like I'm just a happier person. I love hockey again. I got my love back for the sport, and I had lost it, man. When I first came back, and I was like a dog that had been kicked in the ass, and it was tough. And then each day gets a little bit better, and you climb your way out, and then eventually you think of this and you're like, holy shit, I love it. I love talking to all my friends. I don't care if I make a cent doing this. And now I can help my friends by people buying tickets at www.aleshockeytales.com. And I think it's absolutely crazy that 100 episodes ago, I started talking to my friends and drinking beers, and now I can raise money for my friends that had a terrible accident, and it's just crazy.
Tell me something. Do you miss the hockey or do you miss the room?
Yeah, no, I don't. Never really. Yeah, no, I always just wanted the room. I loved being part of a team goal to win a championship, and going for it and being part of that. I miss that a lot, as much as the room. But now I have that back, coaching this U11 team. Like this weekend, when I coach this team, and like everybody's gonna get ice time, folks. I'm not saying they aren't, but like we're going to go there to win. And I can't wait to try and figure out how to push each guy on my team's buttons to help make that team win and get the best out of that player so that my U11 team wins it this weekend. And I got that drive again. I got that passion again. And it's for my kid's team and his buddies. And like, I love it.
Good. No, good. And if the kids have got to have people like you at the bottom end, otherwise it doesn't go through the ranks, does it?
Well, it's not even going through the ranks, though. It's enjoying when you're a hockey player, when you remember being a hockey player. Like, I think who your coaches and how they do it matters, right?
Yeah.
Whether you enjoy it or not.
No, 100%. Who was your best coach?
Are you looking for best coach or best person?
Who was your best coach? Who would you go to war for every night because he was just a great coach? Who got the best out of you?
Well, I think if I would have been younger and a better, like I think for what I was left in me, Andrew Lord.
Do you think he'll go all the way?
Yeah.
You think he'll coach in the show?
What the thing that's interesting to me though about coaching in the show is it's a circle of friends up there that all seem to have each other's hands and don't let anybody else in. And it's a big old boys club, and there's family ties to it. That's right. It's like my podcast. You see my spider web. Well, their spider web is a lot smaller and it's up top, right?
Yeah.
And if you actually want the best coaches, I personally don't think you're going to get a guy more passionate about hockey, more into doing whatever he can to be the best team he can be every single day. And he cares about each player on his team. He cares about their marriage, their kids, their dogs. He cares about, like, if they wipe their ass properly that day. Like, he cares about you, right? So yes, I do think he will, if they let him in the circle.
It's hard to get in the circle. Huh?
But he at least played in the AHL and stuff, right? Like, my circle's in Europe where nobody knows anything. Yeah. I don't even think anybody knew I played hockey around here until I came back, and I'm telling people I played hockey, and they're like, there is no way you were a hockey player.
Well, we had a player, he played a couple of years, he played for Toronto, but then he went to Nottingham for a couple of years. We had him for a couple of years, called Derek Laxton. And I think Laxey is in Dallas. He's Dallas's assistant coach. So whether he ever gets a shot on his own, I don't know.
Wow, he's already, though, in the show as an assistant coach.
Though, isn't he? Yeah. He's been
there
for
that's
years.
Still making it, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Can Deese make it?
As an equipment manager? If Deese can make it, we can all make it.
Well, equipment managers, I feel like there's a honey hole there where if you're willing to do the work and you're good at it, and he is, and he's passionate about it.
Yeah. We're blessed. We have the best equipment manager.
Who's yours?
A guy called Andy Akers.
Okay.
Quiet lad, just gets on with it. Hardest working guy, really good, can make anything, and just doesn't stop.
And doesn't get in the way of the team. He's just part of it.
He's part of it. Just
big part of
exactly how to be with people. He's one of life's good people, and we'd be lost. We actually said during this COVID, the owner could get COVID, the coach could get COVID, I could get COVID, the commercial team could get COVID. Well, blimey, if Andy Akers ever got COVID, we'd shut down.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting, what people don't realize about the success of hockey teams is it has a lot more to do with just the players and how they play each night. A lot more gets factored into how players play each night. It's the equipment manager, it's how they're treated off the ice, it's their apartments, it's everything, right? It's their quality of life. 100%. That's the product you get.
Yeah, a lot of ingredients. I think Andy's done nearly 1,800 games with us.
1,800, eh?
1,800, yeah.
Does he keep getting raises, or is there a ceiling on the equipment manager salaries?
Yeah, you don't know our owner. Yeah, no, I hope he's looked after well. He deserves it. He's a good lad.
Yeah,
he's a brilliant equipment manager. We'd be lost without him. So
yeah, no, exactly. And those are very important. It's a very important role on a hockey team, and very underrated, because if you have a guy that whines about doing work and whines about sharpening skates and whines about this, it brings the whole mood of the team down, right?
Yeah. No, he's the opposite of that.
Okay. Well, then I got any players in the league surprise you so far, like as far as being really good, or the opposite?
No. I mean, over the years, you have players that come in who you expect great things from, don't you?
And then they maybe don't add up to that, but
yeah, I mean, Chris, what was his name? It was a goalie in Glasgow a few years ago when Ryan Finishy was coaching there. And they had a KHL goalie. And he came like 3-4 years, made millions of dollars. KHL came to Glasgow, was just shocking. And you wonder how they make it, because he's in that little group. But no, I mean, our league is very competitive right now, you know, top to bottom. All 10 teams have got good players on there, different backgrounds. I mean, our coach has recruited older, experienced guys, per se.
I like that.
And then you've got some other guys, some other coaches who've gone down Guildford have gone down the younger route a lot because of the NCAA thing we spoke about.
And those teams are hard to beat too, just because they work so goddamn hard and they're fast, right? But then you play against the older teams, it's a different game.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting with Cardiff because they obviously were under the Andrew Lord, ethos for so long, and then they've lost the heart of that team. They not just Martin, they've lost several real key players, And that coach, will he get the time to build and build? But I think if you finish one place above Cardiff this year, you'll win the league. I still think Cardiff are the team to beat.
No, I agree, and I think that it's the familiar foes. It's you guys, and then there's Belfast, and I guess there's this Guildford team, right?
Guildford won't hang on they won't hang
Yeah.
into
Well, the NCAA guys, they can work really hard. They can give her, and they're going to make it competitive every time. But when it comes down to be crafty enough to pull her out, experienced all day long.
The best team I've seen this season has been Coventry, but then I can't understand when I see Coventry, they play great. But then obviously when I'm not there, they don't play great and they keep losing games. But I think Coventry has got a lot of talent on that team. Glasgow will compete, but then their schedule will get too rough playing 3 or 4 games a week from February home. So Glasgow won't be there when it's about. So and Nottingham just haven't got in their club DNA what it takes to win over 8 months. They can win over 3 weekends, but Nottingham as a club can't win over 30 weeks. And so they'll puff and they'll pant and they'll be brilliant one night, awful another night, and then they'll fade off the cliff. Belfast will be there or thereabouts, and then it'll be left to us and Cardiff, I think.
Yeah, no, and it'll be exciting to watch. And
have you had anybody on from Nottingham?
I had Deuce on, the guy that runs the ship, right?
I mean, his
who else
biggest
did I gotta have someone else on from there,
his
haven't
biggest job. There's nobody else there with the personality to have on. They're a pretty bland.
Oh, I had Jeremy Welsh on before he played there. He didn't announce he was playing there.
Right.
How's he doing?
He's all right. He's all right. But like Doucette's biggest job is just to change the whole DNA of that club.
Well, they need a Jono, they need a Richie, they need some cornerstones, right? They need the guys that are the guys like that Clark that used to be there.
Yeah, they got that Ollie Bettridge, and if he keeps going like that, he seems to be the one they put in all their faith in to be the Mr. Nottingham. They got Stevie Lee back, he's a good lad.
Yeah, he's a good player, but like you need like a cornerstone, right? Like a Joey Martin and Andrew Hotham, like a Jono, the way he does it, right? Like he just he changes the way the team plays. He's like, this is me. I'm the captain. Follow me. This is how hard you work. You don't care what line you're on. You don't care who you play with. You just play.
Yeah, and Clark and they had a guy called Danny Myers for a while. They tried to do that, but then sometimes he gets beaten out of him from above. They're a strange club. They're a strange club.
Well, how about fighting in the league nowadays?
Well, our goalie wanted to fight Cardiff's goalie the other night, but he didn't want to know.
Do you think it was because he wanted maybe as a bonus for getting a shutout or something? Maybe he was going to make some money?
No, I think I like all those guys. I want to do it alone.
How long was left in the game?
I think we're only about halfway through the second period.
What was the score?
I think about 3-0.
And that's when he actually said, "Let's fight." And
well,
he said, like you're saying, he offered, and you're saying Mac didn't look. Did he see it?
There's a melee around your guys.
I can't see Mac turning around from a fight with a guy who has a body like mine. Sorry, Mac. Sorry, you're on my team. Mac's on my team. I don't really play for a team anymore. I play for the Shed, and I'm just supporting all my guys. Okay. Yeah. And I haven't met Barry yet, but I'd love to after Mac kicks the shit out of him.
Well, I got my money's on my guy.
All right. My money's on my guy. Okay. Well, oh man, I got more notes written down, but it seems like a good time to end it. But no, seriously, I could sit here and chat with you all day about hockey, and I think we both know that. Yeah. But like people like you is what this whole thing, how it's all started is the guy that came up with the name 2 L's and Hockey Tales. He also did the electrical wiring in my shed. So that's the only reason I have power out here. He also did that. Another friend, neighbor, finished my shed for me. So all free of charge, just being friends. And then every guy I call, every guy I text, basically 97% are like, let's do it. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to catch up. And that's the only way you can do this as friends, right?
100%.
And to think of where it's at. So I got some 100 episodes facts written down or highlights. Okay. So I got those guys helped build the shed. And then the guy that did the concrete to start it all off played for the Ripley Wolves, gave me a pretty good deal. Thanks, Kemper. Anyways, down to 174 pounds. That's pretty crazy. Don't know how. Haven't worked out in a long time. A lot of saunas. But anyways, like to thank Todd Kelman for what he's done for me. And it's been top 20 best startups for podcasts in the UK, 37,000 listens. I have one episode that has well over 1,000 listens. I don't know if you've heard of him, David Sims. I've got to pod with
because he's got a reputation to keep.
Well, I've podded with my old man, podded with my grandmother. I'll have that memory forever. I've podded with my son after winning a championship with him. It's been listened to in over 43 countries, because it's 43 if you count the UK as one, and I don't think anybody that listens to this counts it as one country. So number one in the UK, Denmark, Kuwait somehow, Belgium.
Kuwait.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one guy listened, I guess, but big day. But no, I've made new buddies. I've rekindled friendships, and like, there's people making, I don't know, there's people buying tickets for a jersey that sat in my closet for 5 years. That's crazy. And that's going to help my friends, right? Yeah, www.aleshockeytales.com. I have a website, folks, from talking to people in my shed because of David Sims, Todd Kelman, and every other guy I've had on from 99 episodes, right?
How many people listen to Killer?
He is second right now.
Is he?
Yeah, he's almost at 800, I think.
So he's like a good 20-25% below me.
Just like the budgets.
Oh, don't come that one. Oh, you've been listening to him for far too long.
No, but yeah, no. And you know what, though? I think it's the Twitter support too, though, as you and the Sheffield Steelers, you guys got me out there. I think I've gotten one retweet from the Cardiff Devils, and it was to the wrong Brent Walton account. It's okay.
Yeah, people don't like it that I run the social media for the Steelers, but I can get everything out there. But it's I think I've got 15,000 of mine, 40,000 on the other one, so it gets it out. But people like that. They want to know the stories. People want to know the stories. They want to see the characters. And
there's characters in hockey, isn't there?
Oh, by a busload. Yeah, absolutely. All good.
No, but seriously, thank you so much. And
thanks for having me back on.
No, like, yeah, we're both busy guys, but you know what? This has only been I don't know how long since your episode 52. It's only been about 4 months.
I look forward to being your guest on number 200.
I'm pretty sure that we can squeeze in episode 3 and figure out something to talk about, right?
100%. You get two hockey people together, they can always talk.
That's right. And also, thank you so much for coming on and being episode 100. And can't wait for to win silver stick qualifiers this weekend, and for Mac to kick the shit out of Barry. Go Devils!